Is the red light on the mic?
Yes.
Okay.
Good morning and welcome to the Sun Dragon Sideshow. The Dear Becky and Lizzie, but we don't have Dear Becky and Lizzie questions. Rebecca's making faces. I know. I know. Yeah, we don't have any questions today, so you get us.
Good morning. I'm sorry. I didn't put my name tag on.
We're a hot mess this morning, so
how is that any different from any other morning?
I have my name tag, but
Hi. It's buried under the thing you put over your name tag.
Yes, because
hi, I'm Rebecca. See, look,
she has proof she's Rebecca.
I'm the owner of Sun Dragon Art and Fiber in monsoon type weather, Brevard, North Carolina.
I'm Liz. I'm the minion there.
Hey, minion. Are we gonna have
The
more
minion.
than one?
I'm the minion.
Yes. Articles are important, says the 10th grade English teacher in me. Former 10th grade English teacher. Tried that for 2 years. Oh my gosh. I mean, I love the kids, but oh my gosh. Teaching something that you weren't necessarily trained to teach. That proves if you're a good teacher or not. You get to prove to yourself. So anyway, neither here nor there.
But fortunately you grew up with a grammar Nazi.
I need more coffee. Yes, but that means that I'm only partially trained to teach English. Means I'm a little better than the students, and that's about it, because I'm still not up to par in the eyes of the people who raised me. They're still correcting my grammar. Hey, look, we almost have, like, she's got the broodier version of what I'm knitting with right now, and yours actually self patterns, and yet you're not doing socks with it.
No, but I'm so happy I'm getting into the teal.
This is what's kind of creepy about this, and we'll talk about lots of other things, people, don't worry about it. What is that? Something got pulled through there. That was weird. My cat might have gotten, I don't know. I just randomly started from the inside of this ball, right? And it's matching the sample on the outside. It's like it started in the same place as the sample on the little thing on the outside. It's the greens and the grays.
I noticed that with I think it was this.
I don't think it was on purpose, but it does. It's kind of
this
cool.
Like I started here,
okay,
and then I got the gray, and now I'm like, yeah.
You just get to listen to us ramble apparently today. I don't know. I have ideas to focus us, but we always have to get some swirling out of the way first, right? So
something tells me that's the royal we. I don't swirl near as much as you do.
I don't give you a chance.
It's true.
Okay, I'm monopolizing the conversation, but I'm the boss. My next name tag, right? This one says founder. I'm being all polite and everything. My next name tag from Katrinkles is going to say the boss. Rebecca, the boss, and it's the minion Liz.
Yeah.
It's how it works here. Okay, so I thought I'd start off with a story.
You have a story.
I already told you the story.
Oh,
I'm going to retell the story. I thought I broke my cat this morning, and then we can talk about socks and things like that. I thought I broke my cat this morning. I was worried. So, and I also didn't sleep very well. I think I got 50%, according to my phone, 50% sleep quality last night. So, and that's always due to my cat. Always.
I haven't been tracking my sleep, but I woke up this morning, and I mean, it's one of those, how is it different than any other morning? But I felt that I did not sleep.
Yeah, I'm amazed I feel as awake as I am, because I woke up several times last night. Actually, not all of it is my cat. Some of it is just, yay, I'm a girl stuff happening. But the cat tends to want to sleep down by my feet, and I can sense when he gets tense, because he's either wants to attack me or is uncomfortable with me moving. And yesterday I had a stiff neck, and I blame some of that on my cat because I couldn't roll over in my sleep. But it's almost gone today. He got that whole I'm going to attack you for no reason, and I think that was partially the weather.
Yeah.
Several times last night I woke up, I couldn't get back to sleep. This morning, for some reason, he went into attack mode and started biting my feet. Now, it's him, weighted blanket, comforter, so he's not injuring me. But my reaction when he does that is to kick just a little bit. And usually he flies off and yay, and little scissor kick. And today he decided to double down. So I did too. And I should know better. I'm bigger. I should know better.
All I can think of is the reel that you sent with the guy waking up. It's going to be a beautiful morning. And the cat's
like,
at the end of the blanket
like
going,
forgetting the cat's there. And and the sound bite for that one was the Titanic.
Yeah.
You're here. And it's like, wow. So yeah, usually when I kick, he kind of does that little flying leap and he's gone. But this time he was like, he jumped harder. So I went into butterfly kick mode. I just went blah, 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 blah. And I heard a snap or a something, or I heard a noise and I'm like, that's not good. It was probably like he was going to bite and I hit his jaw or something, right? And he ran away and I just went, oh no, I broke my cat. My first thought, I have viciously hurt my cat, not intending to, but I did overreact. So I went out in the other room. I'm like, oh my gosh, Avi, are you okay? Are you okay? And he's hiding, and he was meowing in the other room. And when he meows, I worry that he's meowing because he's hurt, And when he finally makes an appearance, he peeks out from behind like the sewing table. And I'm like, come on, I'm trying to approach him saying, it's okay. I won't hurt you. I'm sorry. And I realized he's not looking at me. He's looking past me to the bedroom. And it's like, he was like, where's the vicious thing that attacked me? Like, he's not.
It wasn't you.
It wasn't me. It was the vicious thing under the covers. He's like, where is it? There's a monster in the bed. And I don't know what happened, but suddenly it was, blah! He's like, where is it?
It's probably related to the monster that beat or that used the broom to beat the hornet.
He's like, the broom was under the bed somehow, and it whacked me upside the face. And I started laughing because I'm keeping an eye on him. I think he's okay. I think he's just annoyed, but he really did not connect those feet that what happened to me. So that's the good news. Otherwise, he'd be biting me all morning. But I really wish he would know it's me, because then maybe I'd get some sleep and he wouldn't say, what's this by my face? So yeah, I thought I broke my cat this morning, but I didn't. So hopefully he's fine when I go home. And I have been rewarding him because I feel bad because he's been feeling bad. And I think he's gaining too much weight now. Now that he's feeling better, he's a chonker. And every time he sees me, he's like, oh, feed me more. And I'm like, oh, I need to stop that. So, okay. That's my story. So since we don't have any Dear Becky and Lizzie questions, and that ebbs and flows, and that's totally fine, I figured we could talk some more about the sock knit along, because that is coming up and we have some people super excited by it. We have some ranunculus people going, oh my gosh, I just found you. I need to knit a ranunculus, who are joining the knit along page. That's okay.
Don't worry, people that want to start ranunculi.
Those are all different yarns she's using for new ranunculi. So yeah, and I still have one on needles. It's actually over there. So I still have, I think we showed you this on Tuesday. I still have my lace weight one that I'd like to work on at some point, but I'm already starting to knit samples for the sock knit along. So here's some more details on the sock knit alongs. We're trying to be all things to all people and failing miserably for some of you on all accounts, but the general setup, because it's like people say, I want to knit whatever sock I want. Great, go ahead. But wait, I need options. Okay, I have 3. Okay, but wait, no, I don't know which one to pick now. And it's all good. It's pretty much, there's no wrong answer. But from my vantage point, the self-critical voice inside me is like, ooh, every left turn. So try to let go of that, try to breathe through that. We have picked 3 patterns. You do not have to do one of them, but they're there if you need options. And what I've done with them is I've tried to pick an assortment of cuff down and toe up. In fact, the one toe up one I picked, you can knit either way. It has instructions for either way, toe up or cuff down. I've tried to keep the ones I picked fairly simple, so you can add in things to them if you want. But if you've never done a sock before, it could be really good to start with something not super complicated. And I've tried each one of the three that I've picked have different methods of doing what we call small circumference knitting. So the three that I am most familiar with that I've picked, there's the super traditional, let me find it here. This is in between in a weird spot, so it looks really funky, but there's the uber traditional, let me get these guys are holding place in here, double point needles. Honestly, I'm on a spot on this one where it's like, wait, two are way up here and one's down. This is called the heel flap and the heel turn on a very traditional but short cuffed sock. Double points, let me back up a little bit. What I call small circumference knitting is when you're knitting in a circle, that's a small circumference of a circle. And so the smallest that circular needles, for the longest time until very recently, the smallest they came to knit in a circle was 16 inches, which is what Liz is starting most of her ranunculi on, 16 inches. It's really good for hats. It's really good for collars on sweaters. And I mean, 16 inches might sound ridiculously small for a hat or a collar, but when you're knitting in a circle, if you're knitting without breaking it up in any way, you want a circular needle that is shorter than the amount of stitches you're going to put on than what the finished product will be. If it's longer, it's going to stretch out unless you take some certain actions. That's always my caveat. So before circular needles were even invented, if you wanted to knit in a circle like this or even bigger, you used straight needles with 2 points on both ends and you divided up the stitches. So one way to talk about this, if I wasn't at the heel flap, which does like a little tongue thing, if I was up here, it's a circle that becomes a triangle because the stitches are divided amongst 3 needles. And a lot of sock knitters will actually put them on 4. So you're taking a circle and turning it into a square. So the Rose City Rollers, which is one of the sock patterns we've selected, is written for double point needles. And it's got some pictures in there. For the next part, I'm going to be picking up stitches along either side of the heel flap. And then I'm going to put it on 4 and it'll be a big circle. So that's one way to do small circumference knitting.
I just had an apostrophe. I don't like doing socks on double points because you need 2. With double points, you can only do 1. But I have some longer double points that I bought a long time ago that I think are the same size as one of these needles. And I might see about making a sweater on double points.
I lost you at I don't like double points because you need
2 socks. So you have to,
okay,
like,
because I heard 2 needles and I'm like, no, it's 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I'm glad I clarified that with you.
Sorry.
That's okay. So all of the things I've picked, yes, are 1 sock at a time. You don't have to. You can do 2 socks at a time. Liz likes options. What I'm hearing you say is
Yes.
you like options where you can do two at the same time on a set of needles.
Yes.
Which you can
if it requires 2 of something that you have to make. I don't like doing them one at a time
rather than concurrently. Okay.
Because if you do them one at a time, or I do them one at a time, there's a good chance that project will only wind up half finished.
Can you grab that sock right there?
Yes.
This is an example of that. This is the Hermione's everyday sock that I've made. You can't really see the textured pattern. That's one of our patterns, by the way. You can't really see the textured pattern tons because it's of the stripiness of the yarn. I've only ever made 1. I found the yarn at home last night. That's the rest of this. Will I finish the second one? Probably not. I'll probably try to make another set on.
It's called second sock syndrome. It's a thing.
It is a thing. It's absolutely a thing. And
so
I've fallen victim to it. This one, I was trying to show off self-patterning yarn. You can't get this.
That's the
this
sock
pattern.
I finished.
This is the only sock, Liz. No, you finished other socks. Right?
That was the first ever sock that I finished. And by finished, I mean I bound it off.
She bound off this. I was doing toe up and it was stalled out. And yeah, she bound it off for me. So she finished it for me. Ha 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 ha. We got jokes. Okay. But I only ever made this one and not even the whole thing. So it's a nice little anklet sock, right? But this is what a self-patterning yarn can look like knit up. So we at least have the sample. You cannot buy this yarn because they stopped making it 2 or 3 years ago. But this colorway, I should say. So I'm gonna kind of circle back to what Liz is saying about 2 at a time socks. All the ones I've picked, I'm going to make 1 at a time because I'm making a sample for people, and then I'm gonna be making another one along with a class I'm teaching for most of them. This one is written Hermione's Everyday Sock, which is one of the patterns that we've also selected, is a cuff down like this one. The pattern is written for 2 circular needles. So instead of breaking it up into a square, you have half and half. Like think about it almost like a boat shape like this, half and half, and each half is on a separate needle. I don't have that on my needles yet. I've only started 2 of these 3 patterns. But that has become one of my favorite ways to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And you really keep each needle with the tips with itself. It's hard to describe, but I think it's a great way to do it. And you don't have to handle so many needles and worry about them falling off. But the third way to do small circumference knitting, before they invented really short circulars, which they have, we'll talk about that in a second, is the third option I've picked is Mina's Vanilla Sock Recipe by Knitting Expat Designs. And I'm doing it toe up. And I'm doing what's called a magic loop method, where this is one needle, one circular needle. It's 32 inches long. I've got a loop over here. I've got both needle tips over here. Again, it's divided half and half. And when I go to start knitting this, I stuff the needle in that is going to hold the stitches for the side I'm on. I pull the needle out for the one that's going to knit. Then I've got a loop. I'm trying to put this somewhere where you can see it. Yeah, everything's just dark. In front of my face, maybe there's a loop here and there's a loop over here. And then there are all ways to go around in a circle when you don't have something that's small enough for that circle. Magic loop was my go-to when my gut wants to say graduated from double points, but it's not necessarily a graduation. Some people prefer the double points. There's people I've taught magic loop to who say, I'd rather use double points. Everyone who makes socks is particular about their own way of doing this small circumference knitting. And everyone finds a different version of it more or less awkward.
I really like double points.
Mm-hmm.
Like I
like
have no problem with double points.
Mm-hmm.
I have one problem with double points. You can only do 1 at a time. So I love doing hats with double points. You
do know that people like, shout out to Kathleen, their solution to that is to have 2 sets of double points and 2 socks going.
Yes.
But they're not connected.
They're not connected.
You have to remember to put one down and pick one up to keep them going at the same time.
Yes.
So there is like, that's like when you say knitting a single crochet for the rest of your life. And I'm like, well,
it kind of is.
There's drop stitches but it kind of is. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I don't like it goes back to if I have to do 2 of something, sleeves or socks,
you want to do them
I want to do them at the same time on the same set of needles.
And what Liz means by that is I have not none of these patterns were written for specifically doing 2 socks at a time, but the benefit of doing 2 at a time, and that would mean a longer circular than this, we could have them sitting side by side, split like this on the same circular, and you knit across one side of one, and then you knit across one side of the other, and then the same on the other side. The benefit of that is they come out the same size because you shift to the heels on both socks at the same time, because you're doing one row on each at the same time before you move on to the next row. And you can do that with magic loop. and with 2 circulars, with much more ease than the pickup put down of having 2 sets of double points. I mean, that is possible, but it's kind of neat to have them hanging out at the same time on there. I mean, I might, if I make some socks with, say, the Tutti Frutti,
Mhm.
and I duplicate, because I've already picked out my yarn that I'm using for all 3 of the socks I'm making for the 3 patterns we've picked. If I make an extra out of the Tutti Frutti to see how that goes, maybe I'll do 2 at a time with that one. So I'm planning on doing these 1 at a time, and I'm planning on doing these with the method that it's written for. But you can take any sock pattern that's written for double points and do it as magic loop. Or you can take a magic loop one and do it on double points. Or you can take a 2 circular like Hermione's. I'd forgotten it was written for 2 circulars when I first picked it, because I think I made this on double points. There's just being able to redistribute the numbers onto 4 needles rather than 2, that kind of thing, or vice versa. And then there is the new invention, as in the past couple of years, maybe a little longer, of 9-inch circulars. I don't have any here right now, but they're small
9
enough.
inches around.
It's from tip to tip. And so you can just knit in a circle. You don't have to divide up. I mean, the benefit of that is all of these methods of breaking up into sections and different needles for socks, there's the potential to have a gap between where you switch needles. And there's ways to counter that. I'm finding on my magic loop, depending on how thick your cords are or strong they are, you might have a little bit of I'm forgetting,
Laddering.
they call it laddering, even though ladders are also what you climb when you're dropping stitches, but that laddering look of stretched lines between. Some of that will come out with wear if you're pulling tight on your first stitch. Some people find they can't get rid of it. Some of it is just practice. 9-inch circulars mean you don't have that split anywhere, but you also do have very little purchase for your fingers. And some people like having the long feel of the 5-inch under their fingers of
It's like teacup knitting.
And so some people can do it. And I've used 12-inch circulars on my sleeves a lot of the time, but I find it does hurt my hands sometimes a little more than regular needles. Sometimes just the teeny tiny needles hurt people's hands. There's lots of caveats to a lot of sock knitting, but some people absolutely swear by 9-inch circulars and they'll never go back. And that's fantastic. Again, everybody has the thing that works best for them. And then they will proclaim from the mountaintops that that's the only way to do it, because that's what works for them. And that's great. But like I said, I think, when I first learned about magic loop, I was like, I'm never going back to double points. And I have, but I've shown people magic loop and they say, no, thanks. I'd rather do double points. So this isn't the magic solution to a different form. I say test them all out and see which one you like the best, if you have the resources to do so.
Yeah.
So, and just because I've picked sock patterns that are each written for a different small circumference knitting method doesn't mean, well, I don't do double points, so I can't do that pattern. Or I only do double points, so I can't do Hermione's. You can shift it. That's the personal responsibility level of, are you willing to engage in having to modify the pattern? It's not a huge modification to change your small circumference knitting. It's more a huge modification if you have to make it for a different size foot. That's more, we're getting into math and other things.
Well,
we're not really changing the pattern if you change the needles you want to use.
The beauty of the way you've set this up is you have 3 patterns in 3 different make-its.
Mhm.
But if anybody's made socks before, use your favorite sock pattern. Like, use your favorite method. Like, there is no right or wrong way for.
Yeah, I mean, this is meant to just be like, hey, let's all knit socks. If you want to, again, if you don't want to knit socks, exhibit A. You don't have to knit socks right now. If you have your favorite pattern, it's not like you can't be included in the knit along because you don't want to do one of these 3 patterns. That's fine. if you like we have, shout out to Carol, she has 6 socks lined up with different sock yarn ready to go, and I doubt any of them maybe she's got a Hermione's that she's thinking about, but she's a diehard toe up sock knitter most of the time. And so this was the first time I'd ever done Judy's Magic Cast On. I've done toe up socks, but from this really funky pattern that's not accessible to anyone else, so I'm not using it. So she's got it all lined up. And is she using one of our patterns? Probably not, but she's going to be knitting socks. Yay! And if you are a beginning sock knitter and you don't know which one to pick and it's a little overwhelming, either go eeny, meeny, miny, mo, or pick the one that's written for the small circumference knitting method you want to try first.
And sometimes you pick 2 semi vanilla socks that are just very plain
I
knitting.
tried to pick almost all.
Yeah,
really,
the Hermione's
really
has a little
sock.
texture to it.
Yeah, but it's a fairly basic sock idea.
But I like what you're doing is to give it interest. You're doing self-patterning yarn. So it looks like you changed colors and did little Fair Isle bits.
It's
and
keeping me entertained.
And
so this one is one of the Wacky Sackies, which we only have like 1 skein left in the shop, but we're trying to get more in, and it's stuck in Maryland, and we'll see how that goes. But self-patterning.
It's not supposed to be anywhere near Maryland.
No, it was supposed to just stay in North Carolina and move across the state, and it went up, and it's up there. I don't know when it's coming back down. But this one's more stripy, and I'm not doing a stripy one for Hermione's because again, it looks pretty cool actually on the heel. They've got this Eye of Partridge heel going on that has a funky jig jog with the stripes that accents it. But I feel like the pattern could show up better, maybe. So I should be going with a solid. Should is a shame word. And I'm gonna go with a variegated from Spunky Sheep. This one has merino and nylon and bamboo. It's her succulent success. We have a couple more of these. I'm thinking the bamboo might be kind of soft and nice, and I'm gonna try some Hermione's out of this and see if the variegated that's subtle in this still lets the pattern shine through. Because shout out to Amy D. She makes Hermione's everyday sock with a lot of our Daydream dye works, like indie dyed yarn that's got some nylon in it. Awesome for socks. It really depends on your budget. And she's done all kinds of variegated Daydream dye works yarns from our local indie dyer Emerald. And I think she loves how they come out, because that's one of her go-to patterns. So I'm going to experiment and see. This stuff is not up online yet. If I can, I'll get it up online today. It's a rainy day, so maybe sort of hopefully, right? So I think that's on my docket for today. If there's time, is to wind it already. See, look, it's coming undone. It wants to be wound.
It wants to be wound.
Is to start a Hermione's on 2 circulars and try to order a whole bunch more needles for everybody. It's going to take a little while for it to come in if we run out, but I got to order needles if anyone wants to get sock needles from us. So we miraculously have 1 skein of The Mountains Are Calling. We have more of this on the way. If you want, this would be beautiful to make socks out of. The White Squirrel Shuffle. If you want subtle speckled socks. Oh my gosh, these would be lovely to make. Anything, if you want it to last longer, look for the nylon content added in to give it a little more stability and strength. But places where you can participate in the sock knit along, it does not cost anything to join this. It's not a fee. And part of that is because oftentimes if there's a fee for a knit along, there are times to come and sit and get help. And we have people who are going to knit socks far away and close, and I can't offer the same level of assistance. So I'm not going to charge the same for everybody. It's a free knit along. It's a yay, we're making socks. If you need help, you can come get help at the shop. Sometimes more general questions can be answered during our sit and stitch times. But those aren't necessarily time for like instruction. They're time for community gathering, showing off what you're doing, sharing your trials and tribulations, and maybe other people, not just me, because other people are probably more experienced at socks, can answer questions. So We have general sit and stitch. We don't have a sit and stitch specifically geared towards socks. Some knit alongs do that. We haven't done that. We say all the time on the show here that we have Tuesday and Friday night sit and stitch, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Those are our virtual online sit and stitch for people near and far. And those you can join with the shop phone number.
828-877-3550.
Okay. And then starting next week, basically in June's when we're really kicking this off, we are adding in 2 in-person sit and stitch times. And we're keeping those when the shop is open. We're not shifting things heavily. We're just adding stuff on, but not shifting the shop hours. So this is what we're trying in June, because this is what we think we can handle, and we'll find out if we can handle it. So if you'd like to come sit outside the shop, and the numbers that will attend, we have no idea. It could just be you. It could be several people. We're hoping that it might gain some steam with time. We have Wednesday morning. We used to have pre-COVID, so we're going to bring it back. Wednesday morning from 10 to 12 a.m., 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., like that 2-hour period. It's p.m.
No, PM, yes.
No one's yelled at me yet that I've done it wrong, and that's how I put it in the newsletter. So
Like,
12
wait,
a.m.
no.
Yeah, if it's
wait.
both a.m., that means that our sit and stitch is like
All day.
is like
Into the
14
night.
hours long. No.
No.
We're gonna do outside. If no one's on the gazebo, our little covered shelter out there, we have shelter from the sun. We have minimal shelter from the rain. So a lot of this is going to be weather dependent. We can set our tent up for added shade, or if someone is already on the gazebo, we can provide some minimal shade, and we'll figure it out, right? So that's Wednesday morning. And for people who either are busy Wednesday morning or work, because so do we might have to be in here working while sit and stitch is happening. We're just giving a time and space for it. We're also doing Saturday afternoon from 1 to 4. And that will also be outside, weather dependent. We ask people to put masks on to come in and use the bathrooms and to shop. But the way the shop is set up now, we don't have the same communal gathering space inside that we used to. And we're not comfortable with groups, even in masks, hanging out for long periods of time inside. We're just really trying to protect everybody. So outside, weather dependent. And heads up that the first Saturday that we're doing this, it's also the White Squirrel Festival, and there might be some bands here on the plaza. So our first Saturday could be either very entertaining or a hot mess. And just know that before you come out. So, and parking might be a hot mess too. Anyone who watches this will have a heads up on that. I'll try to put it in the newsletter. The last thing I want to share, because we need to go open the shop, but it's also pouring rain outside. So we're hoping that no one's going to beat down our door. The last thing I want to share is these guys. I'm going to be doing classes, but they are in person. Again, adding stuff on. I can't really have the energy. Like, I haven't found the energy to add stuff on when the shop's not open. And that's when I'd have to do virtual classes, is when the shop is not open. So when the shop is open, we are going to do in-person classes on the Rose City rollers, which is what I'm making here with the double points, and Mina's vanilla sock recipe. So cuff down, toe up. And we're going to do those on Saturday mornings. This one is going to be June 4th and 18th. They're going to be 2 weeks apart. It's $40 for the class, doesn't include supplies, but talk to us about a discount on supplies if you're buying them for the class. And the 11th and the 25th is going to be Mina's vanilla. I want to call it every time. Mina's vanilla sock recipe, this one, and same price. And we'll figure things out as we go. But you do need to reserve a spot before you can't just walk up on that first Saturday and say, I'm here for the class. If you haven't signed up, we cannot guarantee you a spot. So we really need you to sign up ahead of time, which means email me or call the shop and sign up for the class. So I would like to make videos for helpful things on all of these patterns. But what I'm going to do this time that I didn't do for the ranunculus, that I probably should have, I'm going to reach out to the pattern writers and make sure they're okay if I make some videos, because these two, Hermione's, these two, Hermione's and Rose City Rollers are free patterns. But I still, they put work into these patterns. So I don't want to suddenly have people not going to their pattern and just watching my videos. My videos don't tend to be start to finish. Here's every step. It's, hey, here's a spot that you might need help. And here's a video for it. Here's a spot you might need help. And here's a video for it. There's still some pattern reading involved. And then Mina's is a paid pattern. And I want to make sure that they are okay with me supplementing their pattern with videos before I go ahead and make them. So stay tuned, because I'm not just going to throw out there, I'll make videos, it'll be fantastic. I want to make sure I have permission. Midori from Ranunculus has not gotten mad at me about making videos, but I want to make sure I'm doing it the right way. So anyway, that's all from us. This was just more of a like tried and true details type of video. I hope it was still entertaining on some level. So I always worry that we're not as entertaining, but it's just different, right? Maybe
I've got 3 out of 4 callers done.
Did you do all of that while I was talking?
No.
It would be pretty cool if you did, right?
No, I was working on them yesterday and
yeah,
midnight and
so Ranunculi knitters, and I'm still making one too, but Liz is not on the Facebook group. There is a Sun Dragon KAL Facebook group that is meant to encompass all of our knit alongs, and they'll all keep going. Like shout out to Marin. She just posted that she just blocked her Echo Point. That was our first knit along this year. So there's still posts going up on everything. And we even had shout out to Donna. She posted about a butterfly that she started, a papillon. And not that she's
doing it out of sock yarn.
I know, I love it. So it kind of still fits. It's like, it's not like the knit along is limited to only what we're knitting. But it can get to be a wild and crazy place if it's just a free for all. But it's as long as people are kind on that page, I'm not going to be like, hey, what are you doing? For the most part. But there's just anyway.
So there's the Facebook Sun Dragon KAL.
Yes, it's 3 words: Sun Dragon and then KAL. If you put in Sun Dragon knit along, you might still find it. Right now it's got a cover photo of a ranunculus. I might be switching it over to a picture of some of these socks at some point. I try to keep the current cover photo our current knit along, and that's happening in June. So in June I might change the cover photo.
And for those of us that are not on Facebook but are on Instagram, is there a hashtag?
I'm glad you asked. That was a leading question. That's
it
okay,
was.
it was totally, it was like scripted, but not really. People are using a couple different hashtags, and I used to be pushing this really hard, and then not many people were using it, so I stopped talking about it. But yes, if you can post your progress over on Instagram, and it'll show up sometimes on Facebook too. Hashtag Sun Dragon KAL. You can always use a hashtag that is more specific to like the Sun Dragon sock KAL, but Sun Dragon KAL or Sun Dragon knit along. And then anyone who wants to be part of it or see what's going on, follow those hashtags. But that is another way to see, like when I did the Princess Bride mystery knit along, it was As You Wish MKAL. That was a hashtag. And if you follow it, suddenly it's like, oh, look, here's all the other people doing it. Like, because that's the only, well, I'm sure you could follow it on Ravelry. We don't have a group on Ravelry. I'm maxed out in how many things I can stay on top of and moderate. That would be lovely. But right now we're doing Facebook. We're doing hashtag on Instagram. Come to the general sit and stitches. Know that not everyone on the sit and stitches in person or online may be working on socks or ranunculi, but they're all there with hopefully an open heart to crafting. So I would consider it, and I hope to create it as a safe space to share whatever you're working on. Doesn't matter your level of knitting or crocheting or anything. It's a place where I will welcome you. We will welcome you wholeheartedly. Whatever level of crafting you find yourself at.
Knitters, crocheters, painters,
spinners,
drawing,
embroidery, all that stuff.
Yeah.
In terms of what we have to offer at the shop,
we're knit and crochet.
We're knit and crochet and a little bit of art supplies. But the crafting world is wide. And, you know, the artisan world is wide, and we'd love for y'all to come hang out. And we just try to keep it as accepting as we can, which means we often don't talk about things that are touchy. And if things arise that are kind of touchy, hopefully I have the stamina to address it. So I do my best. We're all human.
We had a really good week or really good night on Tuesday. It's 16.
That's a good number. We've
Yeah.
gotten as high as like in the 20s.
Yeah.
But sometimes there's something to be said for when it's not huge. But everyone's welcome.
It is Memorial Day Friday night, or well, weekend, tomorrow night, but
I
we'll
don't.
see how
We're
many-
gonna see if that means more people.
we'll
or
still
fewer
be
people.
there.
We'll still be there. Absolutely. Yeah, we don't go anywhere. Yeah. All right, we gotta go. I've gone into opening time, but the plaza is dead outside, so I felt it was important to convey all of that to you. I've got the double points sticking like right up right there. It's like okay. So we hope to see some of you tomorrow night, and we will be addressing more things next week. I should have a lot more done in my socks next week. Like I said, I'm trying to finish one of each, especially the ones for classes before the classes, for an example. And then at the class, I might start my second to do with you all, anyone who wants to sign up for those. The classes won't be huge. I don't like doing, not that we have a lot of people sign up, but I don't like doing like massive groups. I like keeping it to about 4 people so that you get my best attention. So, anyway. All right. We'll talk to you next week. Have a good weekend. Enjoy Memorial Day weekend, whatever you choose to do, both in remembrance and in celebration. So,
Like, subscribe, ring the bell.
yes, because we are at just 20 something away from our next sale.